Everyone, it's just past 7 o'clock. We had one cancellation tonight, item 2, that's 1950 Hillview. That's going to be rescheduled for next month's DRB meeting. If you're here for that item, you might want to consider signing off. It is 7:01. We have an active chat and we have a full DRB board here tonight. David, we are ready to go whenever you're set.
Okay, welcome everybody to the February meeting of the Development Review Board. For those who are out here in the audience, if you haven't signed in, please do on the list at the door. And for anybody remotely tuning in, you need to leave your name and address. Do you want, Dante?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. We have a number of hearings this evening. And so we'll try to work our way through. If we get lengthy on one, we may have to continue it so we can make it through the agenda before it gets too late. And by signing in, you're here. And also, if you wish to attain status as a interested party, which would give you the ability to appeal a decision of the board or no decision that we may make, then you need to offer testimony in either writing or orally. So the first matter on the agenda is the Vermont Land Trust. They seek site plan approval to repair and renovate the second floor of an existing accessory structure at 266 Bridge Street for converted use as an infrequent meeting space. This is SP 2026-001. And who's going to speak for the land trust?
We have the facilities director, Ryan Deal, on online with us today.
Okay, Ryan, can I swear you in? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anybody on the board that feels that they have a conflict with this matter?
No, I do not.
Neither do I.
Not here, nor me. Okay. What you got in mind for us?
Just real quickly, correct that to 226, not 260 Bridge Street.
Oh, okay. We'll correct our agenda.
Yeah, just wanted to be specific. Outside of the packet that's in front of you, we're requesting slight alteration to an existing space to be able to utilize it for infrequent conference capabilities for the organization. We have submitted all the requisite materials. If you've been able to review them, I would prefer not to go line by line, but I am here for any questions or clarifications as per the scope and scale of the project.
Okay, why don't you just explain what needs to be done to your property to achieve what you're trying to do?
There is an existing space above our garage units that at one point in time was, to my knowledge, utilized as an ADU for the previous property owner. And we're respectfully requesting to do light modifications to that space, meaning some upgrades to the HVAC, adding a parking space, and fortifying the driveway and drainage such that we are able to execute organization-wide conference meetings periodically throughout the year.
Okay, and so it's not going to require you to increase any space that you have, is that correct?
We are not amending or modifying any of the structural space that we have. It's existing.
And you have modified your parking plan to allow for this?
Correct. Yep. All of that information has been submitted with our site plan and our
Okay.
code compliance review.
Does the board have any questions? Yes.
Sure. The staff notes indicate that might be advisable to have some landscaping. Curious your thoughts on that. I'm not entirely sure where it would go. Just, yeah, your reactions to that as to whether it would be helpful for screening the view of the site.
Yeah, we're certainly, open to, modifying the existing landscaping. There is some pretty significant screening with the existing cedar trees that are in place. We would hope that the drainage work does not damage those trees in any way, shape, or form. Our landscaping master plan for the property would not dramatically change with this. It's simply a resurfacing of the existing driveway and improving the drainage therein, as we put in one additional parking space to accommodate increased use. I don't have
Thank you.
I don't have a larger landscaping master plan outside of that, but we're open to suggestions.
So have you gotten from your site people, any thoughts on whether the site work you're gonna do as far as drainage goes is gonna have any effect on the, existing landscaping?
Yeah,
You
again,
should
we're,
be clear
we're
on that.
hopeful that it doesn't negatively impact the existing rows of like mature cedar trees that sit along the property and along the driveway border right near the fence. Those are important to us, and we're hopeful that we are going to execute this in a manner that doesn't impact those. Outside of that, our landscaping plans haven't changed dramatically with this permitting packet.
Are you, willing to commit to replacing any existing landscaping that, does not survive your site work?
Certainly.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from anybody either here or remotely?
I'd like to know what staff thinks might be a possible location for additional screening.
As I understand it, there is a one-family dwelling in that front principal structure. And so the landscaping requirement was to, if needed, it was for that middle ground, that backyard, that so-called backyard space between those back parking areas and that front principal structure.
So the landscaping would be behind the building?
There's a
Potentially, yes.
pretty decent large yard back there.
Both buildings are owned by the land trust, correct? And
Correct.
Primarily used for office space, or is there also somebody also live there?
There's an ADU in the back that has a residential tenant that we inherited from our previous, or from the previous owner.
And Ryan, is that ADU is being converted with this project?
It is not. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. This is the space above the garage. This is an entirely separate structure that I believe was utilized as an ADU in previous iterations of this property, such that we don't need to change. There's no need for structural changes or remodeling of any sort. We're simply taking an existing space and just hopeful that we can utilize it as an organization for larger conference room meetings that can hold more than 10 people, which is an organizational need.
So it's not being used as an ADU at this moment.
It's been unused since COVID, correct?
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Nope.
Audience? Anything else from the applicant?
We're appreciative of the time, attention, and energy. Thank you for considering.
Okay,
Does the DRB have to talk about the waiver?
yes.
Yeah. Ryan, would you like to speak about the one waiver request to the hard surface parking requirement?
Yeah, certainly. We were hopeful to achieve a waiver there, wherein like the current driveway and the parking spaces behind that facility are impermeable in terms of their gravel, but they are compacted gravel. I know that there's differing viewpoints as per the impermeability of that, but we're hopeful that with the existence of public parking directly across the street at the facility that you guys are located at this evening. And the current conditions there, we would be able to waive the requirement to pave any of that surface in hopes that we could kind of help to alleviate any stormwater issues that might arise from increased runoff from additional pavement that might not be necessary given the size, scope, and scale of the request.
Okay. There's nothing further and no one else, any other input or questions, I'd entertain a motion. What would the board like to do?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the application to not require any additional landscaping and to waive the hardscaping requirement for the driveway. I would note on that last point that if you look at the neighborhood, all the driveways
It's all
appear to
gravel.
be are all gravel driveways.
Would you add to that, they'll commit to replace any landscaping that gets injured by the drainage work?
Accept that amendment? Yep.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Aye.
Matt? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you very much. We have 90 days or 45 days to make a decision. And I'm sure we'll do it, or to give you a written decision, and I'm sure we'll do it much sooner than that, and appreciate your time.
Thank you for the consideration and your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll be in touch.
Sounds great.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're skipping number 2, which has been withdrawn. Number 3 is PS 2026-001, Trunk Beach LLC. They seek preliminary approval to subdivide 30 Browns Court, which is an existing 0.47 acre parcel into 2 parcels of 0.23 acres, lot 1, and 0.24 acres, lot 2. Lot 1 will get a new relocated driveway. Lot 2 will get a 6-bedroom duplex and shared driveway. Who's going to speak for the applicant?
I will.
And
I
you
am
are,
Andrew Mannix, one of the owners.
okay, and,
I'm Nate Malley, the other owner.
oh,
Our engineer's not here. He was the engineer from number 2, but we decided to come on our own behalf.
okay,
So our engineer is not here. So if there's any loaded questions, we may not be able to answer them without his assistance.
we'll try to get those loaded questions right now. Let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
I do.
And is there anybody on the board that would have a conflict with this application?
I do not.
Oh, I don't know.
Me neither. Okay. Why don't you tell us what you have in mind?
Well, we bought this residence May of last year. It's offset to the right property. Pretty simple to draw a line in the middle of the parcel to subdivide. Meets all local zoning regs from what I can tell from density and lot coverage and setbacks. Our engineer put together a sketch design that you should have that lays out where the proposed dwelling is. We were notified through notes. There's one question about the existing bulkhead and how that might be handled. We didn't get a clear answer. Sounds like that might be qualified as part of the structure. So we're seeking clarity on that today. And outside of that, everything seems pretty straightforward for us. We do have all of our state permits in hand. We thought we were able to do a simple subdivision. We were told by the town we could, but 3 or 4 months later, we were told that wasn't the case. So we did go ahead and obtain wastewater permits and all those good pieces from the state of Vermont.
Yep, the state's probably gonna want that from you.
Yes, I have it.
And if I'm correct, this is adjacent to our new paddleball courts.
Yes, yep, to the right.
So we might want to talk about some sound deadening.
I'm not too concerned about sound. I think it's actually a value
No,
add.
you're not, but your tenants may be.
I think it's a value add for the tenants most likely, but we're happy to consider. It's relatively a large distance away, and we have current tenants in the property now that enjoyed and use the facility and have no objections. Because there is an existing dwelling that is rented.
Right. Any questions from the board?
Yeah,
Matt?
so if it does turn out, which I don't know one way or another, that you would have to redraw that line, Is that still gonna work for you?
Yeah,
Everything would work?
from what I understand, because neither parcel is up against the fence from a lot size. There's 0.02 acres or 0.03 acres to give either way. It's not ideal because it's a pretty clean cut straight line. Other options for us is to remove the bulkhead, which wouldn't be too challenging, just a money thing. It's nice to have a bulkhead to be able to load things in and out of a basement. That is an option that would be at our disposal as well if we decided not to do a lot line adjustment, if that's what you guys required. Or if there's a variance, I don't know how variances work, if that's something that, I
Well,
just don't know the definition of
I
that.
know that in the past, we've come across that same issue of a bulkhead being into the interfering with the setback. And in that one, it was many years ago, we approved a variance and it got appealed and got settled against it. So I would say you may not be able to get a variance, and you might wanna make it simple by
Moving the line.
But, and your line doesn't necessarily have to be straight.
True.
It could be just a butt out, which is what ended up with that other property.
I see.
Right, you could keep the driveway on that property, get to the back of the driveway and then jog around it that way or something.
Makes sense.
Not that we're giving you advice.
Any other thoughts from the, or questions from the board?
I'm just looking at a photograph. I don't know if it's current. It looks like there's a row of trees that separates lot 2 from the town property. Is it that tree line still there?
Yes, and our site plan does notate the trees that'll be removed through there.
Okay, I don't have that. Let me.
So there'll still be some trees, just.
Yeah, why don't you pull that
fitting
up?
Yeah, we want there to be vegetation between the two parcels. So if there's some extremely large white pines, or maybe not white pines, but pines that don't look very healthy, that are through there. There's also undergrowth on either side of those pines, but the pines are poorly maintained through that corridor. Towards the back, they run all the way in a straight line towards the very back, and there's a lot of just ragweed that's grown up. I'd rather have something more attractive there. That would provide a better visual buffer between the two parcels, because right now it looks like a mess.
Okay, I see. All right. I was looking at the wrong site plan. Sorry.
And I know in the very, like, to the very bottom left, the other property owner on the other side of the drive, I think the town or the owner had to put in 4 or 5 small. They're about 3 feet tall. I'd prefer to have something bigger and better than that. That's not very, doesn't seem to do much justice right there.
But am I reading this correctly that the existing tree line will be cut back to the green line? Is that?
Minimum, yes, yeah, that we don't want trees in the house. So that's
a good
where the structure would be there. Those, yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Yes, sir.
Yes, name is Alan Oliver, live at 88 Browns, property owner of 88 Browns Court. I recognize that this is infill, following the encouragement by the state to find housing. I don't object to that in principle. My objection to this is that it's a duplex on less than a quarter-acre of land. And I know there's, as a developer, you must have some issues with how much you can do before it becomes unprofitable.
Yeah, we consider 4 units is what zoning allows, and we decided not to do 4 units. Duplex was a better number that would be more attractive.
I think more attractive to a single family.
Unfortunately, infill housing is tough to accomplish with only single family housing. You're taking a piece of land that's very desirable that can support up to 4 households and only allowing 1 to have the benefit.
We understand.
I'd like to do 3 or 4 really, but it just wouldn't, the site's not big enough for it.
You'd like to do 3 or 4, I'd like to see 1. But the other issues that I wonder about parking, because I understand, well, I see that there's a garage for each unit.
Mhm.
And the setback from the road is but it's required 10, whatever it is. I'm concerned that if there are more people have guests or have more than one vehicle per unit, where are they gonna park?
I don't know, but I do believe it meets the town zoning for that lot. I don't know where they're gonna park or how that will be handled. But the lot would be wide enough, I would think, to have in the minimum of 3 cars per unit, so 6 vehicles parked in the driveway. And I do believe it meets the requirement for parking.
I just don't wanna see parking back out onto the street because it's a narrow street to begin with. And I'd also like some assurances that this is not gonna turn into short-term housing along the lines of Airbnb with that type of housing.
I intend to rent them long-term.
Good.
So
That
one of the issues that come up with some of these smaller dwellings like you're proposing is lack of storage space for the tenants to put bikes, kayaks, and snow tires.
There'll be a full unfinished basement.
There will be. Okay. Good answer. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
all I'm saying, the only other comment I have is this is changing the nature of the neighborhood, but that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Is there anybody in the audience? Oh,
Yeah, the staff notes in, note the requirement to have a drainage plan.
Yes, so what Brian, who was unable to join us tonight, Courier, the engineer from Oleberg, said that there would be definitely fill that's brought to control site erosion as well as the property itself. He noted there's no stormwater system on Browns Court, and noted that it's a really flat trajectory through there and not aware of any current issues in any site work that he's done on any other parcels. He can answer questions pertaining to that, but I can't really get into the engineering factors behind it, but that was on his radar, as well as the builder, but there's nowhere to tie into. So, there was going to be like swale type functionality between the two parcels, of course, to keep runoff controlled. And then it's a qualified construction crew to manage like the during progress site work. But there would be some fill that would be needed to control that erosion.
and that would control any runoff onto the
Town property.
town property?
Yeah, there's actually a small, it's not level between where our build site would be in the town. We're actually lower.
Oh,
We're like in a dip, and the other existing structure is higher up as well. So they would actually need fill to make the foundation just at a reasonable height either way. Based on the swale right there.
good.
That brings up a good point. I run that route often, so I see what you're talking about. That new lot is significantly lower than the existing home.
I wouldn't, well, it's lower as in they brought fill in to build the driveway where it is.
Sure, but you're going to have to some way elevate the structure.
Move the driveway is what so the current driveway will get moved. That's gonna get graded out.
Yeah,
And then that earth there will level the ground, and they'll have fill there they talked about bringing the foundation up to the same height as the other.
yeah.
But it would be very silly to do. So they wanted to bring it lower than our property to the right. It's not gonna be the same height of the foundation. If that makes sense.
Yep.
And we do have a comment from Martha online. She's raised her hand. Martha, if you want to unmute yourself.
Okay, yes. I think the question has been raised at least from the audience, but I still want to go back and talk a little bit about it, and that is the issue of parking. I heard something about it's not up to the owner to put in the parking, the driveway. Is that true, that the garage will be separate from all of this?
No, there's an attached garage.
Okay,
driveway
okay.
parking.
And that will, how many cars will go into that attached garage?
There'll be one per unit with a driveway that'll support an additional 2 cars per unit. So there'll
And
be
it's
6 spots.
Oh, so there'll be space for 6 cars or 6?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so, and this may not appeal or be part of the planning, but one of the issues with Browns Court is the traffic that with additional housing is going to go out into Jericho Road. And is that part of your concerns, or is that just my own concern?
I believe the fire department did a preliminary review of any safety hazards and they said there was no issues with it.
Okay, is that before you put out your plan?
After
After?
they've reviewed the plan.
Okay, okay.
Who gave that opinion?
That was an informal conversation I had with the fire department, Martha. I chatted with
Okay.
Jerry and showed him the plans once the application was out. Hence why it was informal.
Has the
Okay.
road commissioner been approached on that question?
Highway has not been.
Brian Courier with O'Leary Burke counted the number of units and said there's roughly 20 that could be built through that neighborhood before any egress or additional in or out would be needed. He said there's plenty of opportunity for growth there before they'll need to add more roads or more ways in and out. That was an initial concern of his before he even took us on as clients.
Okay. Okay.
I guess I'm wondering, how would that be affected by, did that include the potential traffic for the paddleball courts?
Yeah, I would raise that as a comment that if we can't add units there, the town shouldn't have, big events happening at a ball field. That would seem like it would be that would cause an issue as well, especially those events wrap up during like peak commute hours. When we're talking about baseball games at a softball field or practice there, or any community events that would occur at the park, that must increase traffic as well. So I don't know that adding homesteads for folks will have the same impact that increased town activities at the park would.
Martha, what kind of traffic problems happen when there's baseball games?
There isn't that much from that, but what happens is that this space is used by parents to drop their kids off, and they walk up to school sometimes. There's a lot of traffic for events like, who knows, graduation. Adults come over there to play games, but it's mostly the kids, and I think maybe they don't park. They may be 20 to 30 cars along the side there. And I think one of the things that, although you have said you've addressed it, I think the pickleball courts are going to have up to, I think there's space for 25 parking spaces for the pickleball people. And that's going to add pretty dramatically. And they're going to be playing it. Won't be playing in the winter and they won't be playing at night, but that's going to add, they're going to play from 8 in the morning until sunset. And their pickleball is very popular, so those courts are going to be full.
With all respect, I don't know that should impact whether or not a conforming subdivision should be approved.
Even though it's added traffic?
Correct.
Okay.
Martha, that's just the opinion of the applicant.
Okay. The other, this again doesn't really relate necessarily, but it's, as I'm a community member and love living here at Brown's Court, Brown's Court is used by the elementary school. They bring their kids over here, and I think it's kind of nice. They bring their kids over here to practice their bicycle skills. They ride up they get on their bike up just a little bit beyond Mary Harvey's house, coming down Brown's Court, right around the corner and go past Mary Claire's house, and then turn around and come back up. And having additional, I don't know, it doesn't really relate to your plan, but it's certainly an issue for us here on Brown's Court.
Let me ask you a question. That lot 2 is with 6 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms per unit? Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so, my home, is on Jericho Road, but my backyard is.
I met you. I came to your door. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, and you may have already gone over this, but I arrived a little bit late. I'm curious about the duplex, if it's going to face Brown's Court or it is.
Yep.
And it'll have one on each side?
One driveway.
One driveway. And that'll.
One
hold the-
shared drive that feeds the two garages.
Okay.
Yep.
So two, are the garage-
It'll be like a street facing
Garages on
structure.
this plan?
Everything is just like a traditional house
The garages
on the road.
plan?
Not on this one, but on this one.
So
It's attached to the dwelling in the middle.
Oh, in the middle.
You pull right into
Is
the
there a
garage.
back there?
Yeah.
We have a
picture of it.
Yeah, it's, they,
There you go.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
This is what it looks like, David.
Oh, I see, okay.
I'll
I
just,
didn't look at that slide.
I'll just scroll through. Garage plans.
You okay, that answer?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
Any other input, questions from remote or in here? Martha, did you have another question? No. Okay.
No, I'm fine. Thank you very much for your time and thank you for all that you do.
Any other questions from the board?
Not a question. I think, as we get to the next phase, would like to see the drainage plan
Mhm.
and landscaping plan, and we can make that a condition of any decision as well, I suppose.
I agree, yeah. And, you're asking, your application is for rental units.
they will, that
So
is the
if-
intention, yes.
If the time comes when you desire to sell them, you need to come back here.
They're deeded as a duplex. What do you mean I need to come back here?
If you were gonna sell them as
Individuals.
individual
Yeah,
units.
understood.
Okay,
Yep.
It might be worth going through that process all now. Save you a lot of time and money. That PUD process.
Anything else from the board or the audience? No? I'd entertain a motion. What would the board like to do? You want to have some discussion on this or? Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with it? What's
I'd move to go to deliberative session. I'd move to go to deliberative. Unless,
Okay, all in favor of going into deliberative session?
Aye.
Okay. So, we're gonna go into deliberative session when we finish our, all the other applications, and we'll try and do that this evening. And we have 45 days to give you a decision. We'll try to be faster than that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Whizzing right through this. Okay. Next on the agenda is CR 2026-001, Trew Stone LLC. They seek conditional use approval to expand storage and laydown areas at 88 Rogers Lane, including enhancements by or for existing landscaping and screening. Hi there.
Efficient hearings. I'm glad we showed up when we did.
We had one drop, so
Sorry about that.
that's all right.
We are,
Yeah.
Dante said 8 is probably realistic, 7:30 to be safe, so we showed up at 7:30.
why don't you state your names?
My name's Adam Feldman. I'm with All States Materials Group. It's the parent company of Trew Stone LLC. I'm the director of environmental engineering for All States / Trew Stone.
Evan Fitzgerald Environmental, I'm the engineer on the project.
Okay, let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Anybody on the board have any conflicts with this application or the applicants?
no,
Nope.
I do not.
Don't believe so.
Nope. Okay, why don't you tell us what you have in mind here?
Sure. I just want to start that, as of August, All States acquired Hutchins LLC, which was the former owner of this property. Just wanted to come up, from the Springfield and Hartford, Connecticut area to meet you all. Since I'm new in the area.
Picked a
Here?
nice day to drive up.
It was gorgeous today. It was gorgeous. No, it really wasn't bad deal, but I wanted to meet everyone in person and say hello. And I'll let Evan kind of go over what our plan is to keep the same use of our property, but just expand it a little bit on it.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Dante, are you able to pull up on the screen, like the overview site plan?
On it.
Yeah, so this project is really an expansion of the outdoor storage and laydown area on the property. There's no new buildings being proposed, no new structures, above ground structures, and no plan to add employees or accommodations for employees, including parking, etc. The expansion is a combination of after the fact approval and new expansion, and that's what's shown in the color coding here on the plan. So I can just kind of walk you through that. In the application, I did provide a bit of a history on past applications and approvals. And I will note the last application that was submitted on behalf of Hutchins was actually for an expansion of the office building. That was in 2022. The board and the town did approve that project. I don't believe we ever got a zoning permit after conditional use because Hutchins opted not to do that building expansion. It was in the middle of COVID. Some things changed and they decided they didn't want to expand that building. It became more expensive.
That would have expired by now. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So I did make a note in the application letter that there's no plans imminent or even, long-term at this point to go forward with any building expansion or additional accommodation of employees. So I mentioned that because really our reference point for what was approved in terms of usage and coverage of the property was the last approval that the town gave, which was in 2015. And that coverage is shown in green on this plan. Since that time.
That's been carried out.
Yes. And in fact, there exists today substantially more coverage than what is shown there in green. That is the yellow. So the yellow is what is there today. And in fact, the yellow and the red was what was there up until recently. The red in the upper right-hand corner, the northeast corner of the property, is an expanded laydown area that has since been decommissioned. And I should note,
so when you say laydown area, what do you mean?
Okay, that's a construction term for just a storage area for materials and equipment. Hutchins is a contractor in the business of construction. There's often materials that come off the job site temporarily or are stored on the site on this property prior to going out to a construction site, right? There's
Drainage structures, pipe, some landscaping equipment, pallets of stone, some trees, things of that nature. I'd say your typical construction material.
You don't temporarily place removed fill onto site?
No.
Okay. So it's actually it's equipment of some sort.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Materials.
a lot of it is just on a native a ground. It's not like like we're digging it up or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just setting material.
So yeah, if you could pan to the south there, you'll notice that yellow does, there's a road that's shown there in yellow, and that was put in sometime around the Irene flood in 2011, because as I think you probably know, this area is a backwater flood zone for the Winooski River. It comes up into Rogers Lane area and actually prevents, access, ingress and egress out of this property temporarily during floods. So Hutchins being a contractor laid some gravel down in this road for an emergency exit at that time. So that's what that additional yellow is. And there's
Is
no
it
plans to
already
use.
currently used?
No,
No.
no, only in that emergency situation. And in fact, we're proposing a gate there to just,
A lockable gate that, we don't want anyone using that. Only for emergency access.
Have you had issues with people using it?
No.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh, no, but if it's there, we wanted to make that very clear. And it was part of our Act 250 permit, actually, that we wanted the gate. Yeah, so we're doing that in parallel of this as well.
So the orange that you see here is the actual, from here forward, the proposed expansion of storage area to the south. And essentially it's framed by constraints on east and west, those being buffer zones of a class 2 wetland. And actually, we've coordinated with the state of Vermont, wetlands ecologist who's been out on site, looked at these wetland boundaries. We've had a bunch of correspondence. She asked for, Tina Heath, the wetlands ecologist, asked for a 10-foot buffer on top of that 50-foot buffer. So we respected that. And that's essentially the limits east and west of this expansion, future expansion to the south. And then Dante, if you could just pan to the south a little bit more.
Too far?
Yeah, back up. That limit right where your blue cursor is, bounding that kind of southeast corner. There's a sewer that serves a sewer line that serves the mobile home park there, and there's an easement on the property for that. And we're basically staying 20 feet back to be safe from that sewer line.
That sewer line goes over to their disposal field in Jericho, right? Is that the one?
Is that pump station down?
I actually don't know where
it goes.
Where it goes. All States has an on-site wastewater disposal.
Okay.
On this property, so I don't know a lot about.
We just knew that we had to stay out of that easement because it's there. So we made sure that we were not going to expand or anything, on a top of their sanitary sewer in case there were any repairs needed.
If you go back up to the north, Dante, I'll just explain again the red area that's being decommissioned. As part of some coordination with Act 250 and I think I mentioned this, but we're concurrently going through approval for this same site plan with Act 250. That application has been submitted, and we did a bunch of pre-application coordination with various staff from A&R and the district commission. And all states decided to basically, that it was better to pull out of this area that's shown in red because it's beyond the screening. That was another topic I wanted to touch on. You see, there's existing screening that was part of prior permit approval conditions there, and there's additional screening that we've proposed.
It's an existing berm there that had about 20 trees on it. And I believe that Dante had made a comment that he'd like to see a few more trees there. Yes, so we added a row behind the berm of roughly 20 more trees or so there. We pulled everything out of and I made sure that the wetlands buffer was clear. We had delineated it with large rocks to keep anyone out of there in the future. And then if you scroll down, Dante, we added landscaping features to the southern part of the property. I don't know if it's shown on here, but where the existing screening photos are, we're adding a row of trees in there to enhance screening, for any residents. Trying to be proactive to your comments.
And then I think the last thing I wanted to mention is that this is a a large enough site that it's considered a 3-acre site under the stormwater permitting. We, Fitzgerald Environmental, help Hutchins, all states get a 9050 stormwater permit, basically retrofitting an existing pond, stormwater pond on the property. There's enough capacity we've determined in that pond to accommodate this additional 1.5 acres to the south. And so there is a grading plan and a stormwater plan in this plan set if you want to see it. Dante can keep scrolling. That will essentially bring stormwater from this area to the north, first in an open grass swale, and then piped over to the pond to the north. And as part of this approval and the Act 250 approval, we'll be getting an amendment to that 9050 stormwater permit, as well as a construction general permit for the construction phase. Well, and lastly, I'll mention, we are in the floodplain. That's why we're here for conditional use, and our grading and is all no net change. This whole area is below the base flood elevation of 3035. And so basically any material that's, cut from this swale is going to be placed on site. Any material that's cut away and replaced with fabric or gravel to create a gravel surface for the storage area. That material that will be cut away, the native material, will go to another portion on site or off site that's outside of the flood hazard area. So there'll be no net loss of floodwater storage, which is something we'll have to meet explain at a higher level, even in Act 250 under criterion 1D.
The improvements or what you're proposing here, is that gonna cause any more employees or more traffic or anything like that?
It's no change to our operations and no more employees. It's simply expanding the laydown area to temporarily store some pipe. So we're not as cramped up by the building, obviously.
So it won't cause any additional traffic either?
No. Operationally, we stay the same.
Is the existing laydown area natural terrain, or is it a impervious surface, pervious surface?
It's a combination of both. Just from over in the red, just from driving on it. It's a compact, but we're gonna be restoring that area.
I'm thinking about the yellow. What is that currently?
That is it's kind of a mix of area that's had some gravel laid down on it, and some areas where equipment is just tracked, and it's honestly certain times of year when it's raining, it's a bit muddy.
Yeah, right.
So the drainage that we're proposing is going to help that.
We treated it as impervious.
It is all effectively considered impervious.
It's not that we're paving anything, it's that if it compacts, we wanted to treat it as impervious, so we could size our drainage appropriately. Yeah, but it's gonna help.
Right.
Actually, when we put in the new drainage.
So in the proposed expansion area, are you gonna change the surface of the land in any way? Removing trees, adding gravel, anything like that?
Adding gravel, yes, I believe. I mean, it's a sandy soil, it's well drained, so there are other parts of the property like Adam said that are the red area, also well drained, where equipment had just been tracking over grass and even like storing culverts in grassed areas. And that was working fine. The area that's orange, there's actually a number of small trees that Landshapes, the landscaping company, had planted out there temporarily, and now they've grown. They were going to use those on a job. Now they've grown so big. They're not so big. They're probably 3-4 inches in diameter and 10-15 feet tall. The whole area isn't covered in those trees, but there are some rows of
You're gonna leave them
ornamental trees.
So I assume they'll be removed.
Those will be removed.
They're removed, okay.
Dante, did you see somebody was trying to get in? Sorry.
Yes, no, thank you.
Trying to join the meeting or?
Yeah, trying to join the meeting. Popped up a couple times. I didn't want to interrupt, but. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Jason.
Before we get to that, let me ask the board, does the board have any questions?
Just curious on the site plan that on the far west side and the expansion, the mustard colored area. What are all the cube square shape things? So those, is that pallets, stone? What are, they're smaller, they look
Yeah.
way smaller than trailers. They're
Yeah, it's not trailers. That's a mix of pallets of like our landscaping stone.
Okay.
And then probably even some little flower pots actually, for our landscaping business.
oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of those, I think, are the pallet stone.
I think it's like the-
pallets,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then right up front, I think it's some tables of like the little planters.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Okay, we'll open it up to, Tom, do you have a question? You could unmute yourself.
I think that's just the cursor.
Oh,
Is that Dante's hand?
Yeah, it
it's
is.
not someone asking a question.
Been called on.
Oh,
Yeah, if there's anyone in the chat that would like to speak on this project, now would be the time to do so.
Yeah, if you can't raise your hand, just go ahead and unmute.
Anybody in the audience have questions?
All right.
Okay, I don't see anything in the staff notes that we haven't covered. Is there, Dante?
I believe that covers everything.
What would the board like to do?
I'd move move it to deliberative session.
Okay. All in favor of moving to deliberative session?
Okay.
Aye. Fine, so we're going to discuss this in deliberative session. And then we're still required to give you a decision within 45 days, and we'll try to be faster than that.
okay.
Thank you very much for coming
Hey,
and
thank you.
Thank you.
appreciate your input.
That about with their determinations.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for making the drive.
Thank you. No problem.
Okay, number 5 on our agenda is Matt Parisi. He's seeking a conditional use approval to modify a building restraint at 112 East Main Street. That is CR 2026-002. Matt, I imagine you're gonna have to recuse yourself.
Yes, I have a conflict of interest on this since it's my my application.
Fair enough.
Anybody else on the board have feel they have a conflict?
No.
No.
No. Matt, let me swear you in. Do you tell the truth, agree to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you tell us what you have in mind here?
So, back when we went through this plan unit development about a year ago, there was a pre-sub application and then a final application. And I spoke with Keith and Dante about this. I wasn't under the impression that the final application was all the final requirements or restrictions. In any case, here we are now. And I do want to build an ADU at some point attached to my existing single family home on what is currently lot 3. And there was a
Dante,
restriction.
could you put that up for us?
Yeah, sure thing. Do you want the plat or the plan?
Plan.
Plan, sure thing. This is the proposed plan.
Yes.
Okay,
We'll focus on the back.
so we're talking about the shaded area.
That's correct. So anyway, so yeah, I would like to do that. We tried to address all concerns from previous applications on this application. In addition, we're going to expand the snow storage area by removing the lilacs and then continuing a now existing fence line between our properties and potentially planting some more trees as well. Dante has pictures of those. Do you have those? Might be helpful for people to kind of see that.
Yeah.
So the landscaping was a requirement. The fencing and the trees were actually, it was just trees were a requirement for the final PUD application a year ago there last summer. I'll just wait for him to open them up. Yeah, so that's the lot as it currently sits. So where you're kind of looking at where my truck is would be a little bit farther forward of where the ADU is. So it's going to kind of be in where the snow area is there. And those lilacs will be removed because they're taking up a significant amount of storage, like snow storage space. And more fencing will be added, as well as probably more arborvitaes for screening. So that's the other side there. Yeah, so exactly. Actually, that picture was the best one probably to show it.
The back, this
Yeah.
one. Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of the backside of like the arborvitaes right there. And you can see that the neighbors, the Morans, installed a black chain link fence, and then I also installed a wooden fence up to the part where the lilacs are. I'm going to extend that fencing all the way to the existing picket fence there, as well as probably add one more tree in depending on where we decide on the final location for the snow. Obviously this year especially, it's actually been even more evident that we need more snow storage there. And yeah, we'll lose a little bit of screening, but I think having more, I wish I had taken a picture like I just plowed today. Having more snow storage will be I think much helpful for drainage and just kind of having enough room to maneuver in the
So
parking
you're
lot.
pushing the snow up against that fence that's there now?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where I will be. Currently, you can actually kind of see the back side of the old where the pile is right now. It's kind of right next to that. Yeah. So that's about probably 10 feet, give or take, from like the property boundary. And if you can see on those pictures right there, we are separating our fences. So their fence wouldn't be hit because my fence will be on the property line. So it will be, in theory, protected. What other improvements are we looking to make?
Where's the property line in the middle between the two fences?
No, it's actually my fence is like spot on within an inch or two of the property line.
Okay. On
my side. If we go back to the site plan, I think we can see. Yeah, so the other proposed improvements are making a much larger dry well. This ADU will have gutters. The existing house has gutters now, and they're all piped underground into the dry well. The existing dry well is about 12 feet deep, and it's about 12 by 12 feet. It handles a majority of the stormwater runoff. When we have the really crazy events, it's really nowhere can hold it. So during the big 4-inch rainstorms, no matter what we do, it blows off. I mean, you guys can see it if you ever stand there on Route 2, it just comes off of Route 2 and it's game over. But this handles most of the storms. It handles most of the rooftop runoff. We're locating it farther into my property as well as farther towards the middle because of concerns there were about the existing dry well and how during those storms it does blow over the top into the kind of four corners of the property boundaries there, which you can kind of see. No, or three, I guess. So there currently are two dry wells there for water retention. The biggest existing one in the southwest corner there will be made smaller. Probably not that much smaller, but small enough that the foundation won't be on the dry well. And the newest big one there, you can see is where it's kind of in the center of the property. And then there's another one we built that's working really well. That takes the gutters from the east side right there. It's kind of highlighted. If you can zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see existing dry well. It says, where's that note? Yeah, approximate location of crust stone roof drain dry well. So yeah, that's the improvements we're looking to make. We're not going to do a separate addressing for it. It's going to be part of like the existing home. It won't have separate utilities for it. It will always be kind of attached to that house. I can't really.
What's your plans for?
What's that?
Is it going to be a rental unit?
It will probably be a rental unit. Yep.
And you don't want them to have their own metering?
No, because quite frankly, the cost of trying to run more conduit down this really tight area is not. It's just not worth it for me. I'd rather just charge them a little more in rent, and it's just not worth it.
Right. What's your heat gonna be?
I actually just had a gas line run to our house last fall. And I'll probably actually have a boiler installed with a on-demand hot water. Probably have heat pumps as well for cooling. The other reason I'm not going to put it on separate utilities is at some point both my parents are aging. My dad is 82 and they live up on Robbins Mountain, and I'm not entirely sure they'll be there forever. So that's another potential use for it, probably closer than I would like.
And you don't want to charge your parents.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that is I think that kind of lays out everything I have to. Oh, we're gonna add one more parking space too by getting rid of those lilacs. And we have Dante can speak to this, but we have way more parking than we currently would require. I think we're required for 3 spaces, and I've got like 6. So, yeah. Are there any?
So Matt, this whole parcel is governed by this declaration of interest community.
Yeah.
It's all of the land which is not under a building common land.
So yeah, there are footprint lots that are slightly bigger than the building. You can actually see the dashed lines of those around the buildings there.
All right.
Yeah. And that's the separate ownership now that as it stands now. So we will incorporate, in fact, you can kind of see a preliminary dashed line of how the engineer / surveyor is going to section off now part of lot 3 into lot 2. You can kind of see those dashed lines.
I think so.
Might show better here.
Yeah, so this is actually a preliminary plat for that.
So the community now has 2 members.
The community, yes, currently it has two units on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has this plan been approved by the association?
Yes, I mean, we're gonna modify all that. I mean, it's essentially I am the association.
You are.
Yeah,
You control the
yes,
votes.
correct, yeah.
Well crafted.
So, I didn't really want to update everything until we go through, but I think we could probably, I was hoping that can obviously be a condition that all the legal paperwork be updated before a building permit is issued or zoning permit is issued.
Probably like to see it at your final.
Well, this is not gonna have a final, this is just the conditional use review.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is operating as an amendment to the PUD.
To a PD, okay.
Which has to go through conditional use review. And notably, that Unit 3 common land condition was not designated as a permit critical condition explicitly. So the DRB may remove the development restriction without doing the Hildebrand Stowe Club Highlands test. Or that's how I saw it anyways.
Agreed.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Questions? Let's see. I don't see anybody in the audience here. Is there any questions out in the remote land?
Yes, I think there's two questions. We have D Morin, if you want to go first, you're up.
Yeah, so I represent 2/3 of the adjusted properties on behalf of my mom, Bonnie Morin, which is the 4-unit owner, and then myself. I want to start off by saying, I want to be a good neighbor. I've grown up in Richmond. I built a house here because I'm a mental health counselor. I've been a volunteer soccer coach for over 25 years in the community. So this place really means a lot to me. I want to be cordial and kind neighbor. So I just want to say that because I'm not trying to be oppositional in any way. But I just want the town to speak to, especially the water concerns of adding another property to what has been a really significant flood zone. I heard Matt say himself, just tonight, that as in certain circumstances, there are unique weather circumstances which aren't so unique anymore because they're happening almost every summer, if not every other, which projects water down that whole bank onto my property, the Osterman's property, and all the adjacent properties. I don't want to beat a dead horse. This is nothing to do with Matt or what he's proposing, but historically, my dad owned the property, sold to Matt, and the town told him for years that he could not do water work to build any units to that existing property. Then I was also told I could not separate my property with 2 owners. All of those rules have changed. And one of the town's main complaints to my dad years ago was that based on the water flow, based on the runoff from Route 2, that it was going to create not just an uncomfortable circumstance for neighbors, but an inappropriate amount of water added to the already problematic situation of water flow from Route 2 down. So when Matt built his house, and again, the town approved it, I have nothing against that happening, right? Because the rules change. I get that. However, we have had, because the water drainage system was not planned appropriately before the building was developed, and it was this haphazard thing happening after, where he was also seeking help from neighbors to pay for drainage when it wasn't planned out ahead of time. I'm just wondering what the plan is to make this better for all the neighbors when the town initially had said no buildings can be added because of the problematic factor with the drainage. So adding another unit to this problematic situation seems to just increase this situation. So I'm very concerned, and I know my mom is as well. So again, as 2/3 of the neighbors, it's not that I don't want him to be able to, have another place and all these things, but the town dug in deep and said, we'll never let you do this. Then one house was built without a great plan, and now we're talking about another structure. So I don't understand how in this floodplain, how there would be a helpful situation to incur for all the flood damage with so many of my neighbors have water in the basement year after year, and it's just getting worse. So I'm curious about the town's stance on this concern, because this was the town's stance the entire time, is that this is not a thoughtful plan to add any buildings. Now we're talking about another building here. So again, it's less about Matt's proposal and like the town's stance on how to address the real problem of water flow from Route 2. And then if you add another property, like, I don't know that that's actually possible. The water has to go somewhere. And if you're taking away areas for drainage, like, we're very concerned. Very concerned.
Matt, do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we obviously tried to take that into consideration when I was working with the engineer by building an even larger dry well. Where the location of that dry well is actually going to, the main issue was the southwest corner, specifically Jason's house here, Jason Osterman, who was actually, I'm not even bordered with him, but you've got the 4-unit right there, the Morin 4-unit, and then you've got Danielle's lot here, and then you have his house. And there's a natural low point that's been there forever, as far as I'm concerned, at the back of his parcel there. And it's kind of, yeah, right there essentially. And so water is always pooled there before any of my buildings were built. So that's something that's always happened. Now, to try to address that, we have decided to obviously move that dry well farther onto my property and farther towards the center of the property, where there's actually another natural low point between Danielle's duplex and my house currently. How do I say this? When that duplex was built, the grade was raised. Danielle's duplex, the grade was raised about 4 feet all around the entire property. So that kind of has the natural watershed from Route 2 kind of naturally would run down all the way down to the railroad. So that has kind of become an area where it kind of blocks it essentially now. But irregardless of that, the best place to hold the water is basically in the center between our two properties, not on the corner there where it then goes into Jason's property. And so that's what we're aiming to do. We are aiming to reduce the runoff from our buildings and our parcel, but I can't speak to what happens on Route 2. I mean, there's been arguments about that for years now regarding the fact there's not enough stormwater drains, and so on and so forth. So, I guess speak to V-Trans about the issues coming off of Route 2 there. But yeah, I mean, I think we've done what we can, and she's right. We did not plan dry wells originally way back because we didn't see how bad the problem was going to be until that December flood, December of 23. And so, yes, those were added afterwards. But now they've obviously seen them be used. Actually, the one that is on the east side there is working tremendously well. And the one over on the west side works well until it's overwhelmed by runoff from Route 2. So we're going to move it farther in, and we're still going to keep that other one. And there's not going to be any rooftop drainage into the existing one on the southwest border there.
And I want to name one thing too. I know you're speaking to the problematic area on Jason's side, but I know Annalisa or the neighbors to my right, like they've had significant water damage the last 3 years, as well as the MAC. So it's actually a problem on all sides. And because my dad has owned the other property for 43 years with my mother, like this has been a water situation for 43 years. So it's not like a new problem. And I know the flooding with global warming it's increasing, right? Like, so, but this is not like the last 3 years problem. This is like a 43-year place where water has built up. And we have documentation throughout that this has always been a factor.
Yeah, let's let one person talk at a time here, please.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. We all can agree on that. However, I think there's, again, this has been spoken many times, there when your duplex was built, grade was brought up, you're essentially a moat. Your property is up almost 4 feet from the surrounding area. So for the other neighbors, I mean, I've spoken to them before I even built my house. When your house was built, your duplex, that's when they had to put in the sump pumps because of the runoff from the east side of your property. I
Go
have
ahead, Daniel.
thoughts about that, but I think we're talking about your plan, not the old plan. So
I'm just saying that my plan doesn't bring anything to bear with regards to runoff on their property.
Danielle, I think we've heard what you've said, and
Okay.
that's probably something the board can
yeah, great.
discuss.
I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you bringing that up.
But and again, I just want to speak to the grade. The grade was done thinking that no one would ever be able to build a house where Matt built, if that makes sense. And we spoke to all neighbors talking about offering to remove trees, offering for my dad to pay for the drainage through the max, to pay for all the plumbing, to try to help the problem for all properties, because it was something that has impacted the 4-unit since he owned it. So he went to all of the people, tried to create a drain proactively to help the problem. So the grade was done under the consideration that no building would ever be built at your establishment per the town's direction at that time. So again, not trying to be confrontational, but the grade was added knowing all those factors, trying to help, not to hurt, and not thinking that development was ever possible, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And one other thing I'd like to point out is I tried also at the end of the last project to get the permission from the Morans to actually fix that swale. I was actually working with Jason, Danielle, and Dawn and Bonnie, mostly Dawn, to try to actually build the swale that was necessary to put it down onto Pleasant Street, and then obviously farther down onto the past Pleasant Street. And they did not give us permission to do that. So I was going to pay for that out of pocket. But anyways.
So I'd like to just kind of give my perspective on this. My name's Jason Osterman. Can you see me? Sorry. My name's Jason Osterman. I'm at 103 Pleasant Street. So I'm neighbors with Danielle and sort of catty corner neighbors with Matt. And I mean, he is right. We've tried to work together on this and do the best job that we can. I think it's fair to say that it is very evident that my property, now being the lowest property around, has borne the brunt of quite a lot of the extra runoff, not only from the recent developments with either Danielle or Matt's property, but also the increase in flooding that we seem to get a lot. So, the reality is, over the last 10 years, 103 Pleasant Street, this property has seen increased watershed from both Danielle's property and now from Matt's property. So it's had an increase twice in that 10 years. And, I don't need to go back over the recent history. I think Danielle actually did a relatively good job with that. And, it is very clear that my property has borne the brunt of quite a lot of not joined up thinking within zoning. There has not been a sewer here. There has never been a solution to Route 2. The zoning has been relaxed to improve things for some reasons, but there is nothing that is helping me here in terms of, dealing with water on a municipal level. And the result is that, my yard gets inundated regularly. And I think, the dry wells and things like that help, but they're not alleviating the problem. I mean, there's photographic video evidence of that. Our backyard basically gets inundated pretty regularly, and it's not just from the flood events. It is the lowest part of this entire area now. So, having said all that, I'm not really willing to accept any more water on my property. So if this goes ahead, then I need to be assured that that water is going to go somewhere else. I don't know how that works in terms of documenting that or engineering that or proving that, but if we're going to allow even more development, I want it to be on the record that this is a problem, that we have tried to solve it with, I think it's fair to say, varying results, that the weather is not going to improve this problem, and that I will not allow any more water on my property based on more development around the area. So with that being said, I'd be open to your suggestions about how to actually see that happen.
Well, that's something the board can discuss either in open session or deliberative session. But we appreciate your comments and your input.
Just so I
Thank you.
understand, just so I understand the argument, it sounds like that there's, whether there's buildings here or not, there's a lot of water running off of Route 2 down the hill towards Pleasant Street.
For everybody,
Does-
yeah.
For everybody. Does the existence of an extra structure contribute to that problem? And if so, how does it contribute? Just so I understand what the argument is.
Well, obviously Matt said he's going to have gutters that go to a dry well, and that's fine. But, when you build a new property, you grade it so that the water goes away from that building. And that water is always going to find its way to the lowest point around. And that's basically my backyard at this point.
But if that building wasn't there, there's still going to be water running across that parcel towards the lowest point, which sounds like is your property, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm just
and
wondering if this project is the problem, or it's the broader problem of water coming off of Main Street to all of your properties.
Well, I believe it's all of it, really. As Danielle has said, this goes back decades. There's never really been a solution for this. Everybody experiences this. This house experienced it before either Danielle or Matt's properties were built, but each time this happens, it gets worse.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to speak and say, I think we can actually avoid any grading with this because I'm gonna actually build the property with a, like that building, higher up to make the connection. So I think we can actually avoid most of the grading issues that were like Jason is speaking to. I think we can essentially dig the hole for the foundation, and since I'm going to raise the ICF forms out of the ground, probably we usually do 8 or 9 inches. I'm probably going to keep them 16 inches out of the ground. We can avoid actually having to change the existing grade at all, which if we go back to the site plan, I know that's going to cause problems for where the connector is there. I'm going to have water pooling up back there, but that'll be my problem essentially to deal with.
We do have a comment from Chelsea Brooks in the chat. Chelsea asks, the existing dry well is being moved and made smaller than the another added. Matt, can you speak to the difference in size and depth?
Yeah, I think when the engineer was resizing the existing large dry well in the southwest corner, he honestly made it a little bit too small. Our intention is to keep it about as big as possible. I mean, quite frankly, if I had the lot coverage, I'd probably dig it all up and fill most of it with stone to solve a lot of problems for me. But we don't really have that option necessarily. So anyways, the new one will be about the same size cubically as the existing one. And there'll be 3 of them. So those should be more storage than there is now.
Any other comments from the board or the public?
No.
Anybody else out there?
If anyone else is in the chat and like to make a comment, now is your time. Do so. Danielle and Jason, thanks for leaving your address. Chelsea has another comment. If that building wasn't there, there would be an entirely pervious surface grass to help absorb the water. Have you considered pervious pavers? Questions to Matt.
Pavers, pervious pavers for what? Like regarding?
I would assume your parking lot or your parking area.
Oh, that has 8 to 12 inches of sub base. And then it has plant mix on top of that. So that actually drains really well as far as the driveways go. Better than pavers because pavers do have, obviously they're somewhat solid. And we're not going to, it's a large driveway to build it entirely in pavers. And we're not gonna pave it. I think if that answers that.
Okay, I, for one, would like to see this go to deliberative session. I think we need to discuss it.
Yeah, I'd second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Matt, you're familiar. We have 45 days. That's the end of our applications. Dante, is there anything else that the board needs to discuss before we would move to go into deliberative session?
No, I think we're ready to move into deliberative session. So again, for anyone online, if you haven't left your name, your address, and your location, please do so to be added to the attendance list. If not, have a great evening. Keep an eye on the town's website for the DRB decisions, or reach out to me. Thanks. I'm going to stop the recording right now. And all right, we are back on the record.
And we're out of deliberative session and we're considering application PS 2026-001 Trunk Beach LLC. Do I have a motion to approve it?
I'd move to approve with the conditions we discussed that Dante wrote down.
Related to a planting plan, a drainage plan,
Yes.
and
Outdoor lighting.
outdoor lighting.
And a movement of the
Boundary line
Boundary
That's
line.
most,
Boundary
yes,
line.
absolutely. Yep.
or take away the bulkhead.
Yeah. Or otherwise complying with the setback requirement.
Yeah.
Okay,
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any against? No. Okay. Next, Trew Stone LLC, application CR 2026-001. What would you like to do with that one? I'd entertain a motion to approve it.
approve it as presented.
Okay,
Second.
and obtain their 250 permit,
Right.
All required permits.
all required permits.
Yeah.
That's
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to come out of come out of open session and go into deliberative session.
So moved.
Second.
Hi, Matt.
Enjoy, guys. Have a good evening.
And we are back live with the DRB, minus Matt, who recused himself.
So I would move that we continue the hearing for Matt Parisi. And that he give us furnish further information regarding stormwater and modification or amendment of his covenants.
Second.
Do I have a second? Matt? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we need to continue this to a date certain, so I say we continue it to March
11th.
11th.
Yep, March 11th.
Okay.
7 p.m. here.
And if that doesn't work for him, we can continue that.
Sounds good. Too bad. Next March. That is March 11th at 7 p.m. All right, I believe that concludes all the business.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.